Good stuff. Are you guys ready to? How are we vis-a-vis preparedness? Do we have all of our programs running and all of the information we need at hand?
Yes, sir.
Okay, I'm almost there myself. I gotta pan myself to the left and you guys to the right so I can, record us all separately on tracks. Ba ba da ba ba da ba sound check. Ba da ba ba da ba ba melee.
Smash Brothers Melee.
Beautiful. It's working, guys. It's working.
It's alive.
Cool. I got Craig recording. I got myself recording. I got a book of secrets and a book of lies. So I think we're good to go.
Oh no.
Let me do that jackety do wow check.
How'd it go?
Inconclusive.
Okay.
It's a 9.3 out of 10.
Hey.
You guys good to go?
Already.
I don't see why not.
You don't see. All right, hold on. Let me get you guys a little bit higher in my speaker just because this is. You guys are both a little quiet right now.
Get me higher.
Your volume knob keeps lifting me higher. All right.
I can be your volume, babe.
All right. Ready? Welcome to the A4NB4Y podcast, the Zelda theme podcast where we go chapter by chapter through the game, currently deep diving into Tears of the Kingdom. Last episode, we didn't talk about Tears of the Kingdom at all.
Nope.
The episode before that, we talked about Kilton. We talked about some stable stuff. But this episode, we are talking about the Lucky Clover Gazette and its 11 grand missions. I'm Ryan Fonzie, and I got new Christmas socks on, and with me, as always,
I'm Cameron Hagee. That book you left 1.5 times not read.
And I'm Anthony. Hear ye. I'm a newspaper boy. I'm working over here for the Lucky Clover. Hey, got some stuff, some news. Do you want to hear it?
extra. Read all about it. Your phone's not charged.
Oh no.
Hyrule News, when do you get your tablet?
Wow. All right. So, as previously stated, and as alluded to with Anthony's wonderful identity reveal, we are covering the Lucky Clover Gazette, famously kicked off by Penn, the Pelican Rito, who's, Pelican just looking for scoops. It's a whole thing. He tells us that we can go up towards the Rito village, the Rito stable there has been taken over by the Lucky Clover Gazette. And when we go there, we can meet...
Is it Tracy?
Yes, Tracy, who was the rumor mill character from Breath of the Wild, who is now owning a stable and has converted it into a newspaper printing press. I don't even know. You don't see the machine or anything. You just, trust that these stories are going out. And she has a business offer for you that's kind of a win-win in Link's book because he gets to, 1, investigate the whereabouts of Princess Zelda, and 2, work for an actual reward, which is the frog suit that allows you to climb on sticky surfaces.
And Zelda's been seen everywhere.
Zelda.
It's not just oh, she's over by Kakariko, or it's everywhere,
Yeah.
which is odd.
So this mission will take you to every stable in the game, each one hosting its own very special try to find Zelda in this spot mission. If that sounds like it's not going to work, spoiler, it's not. Because we're already going on this huge epic across all of the major cities in the game in order to find Zelda, and we didn't even find her there. So, yeah,
Probably not at Woodland Stable, but we're gonna find out anyways.
we're gonna find out. We're gonna uncover the mystery. So yeah, a couple of these we have talked about before in passing in other episodes. So maybe only 8 or 9 of these 11 that we're gonna talk about are all the way new. But that being said, we did want to have an episode just to cover this whole escapade because it's pretty serious. We're gonna follow the adventure log order from top to bottom. So it starts with the beckoning woman, and we'll kind of go from there. Just a full disclaimer, not everyone on the podcast has played all of these missions, and a lot of our memories might be a little bit shoddy on some of the finer details, but we have the general scope and the general purpose of what these missions were, and have our memories to rely on in this episode. So for this one, for the beckoning woman, it takes place at the outskirts stable. We find out from Penn. Normally, all of these missions start out with talking to Penn. He's at each stable and he gives you a quick brief of what you're after. And he leads you in the direction of this woman who claims that she knows where Zelda is. So you can follow her. But before we do, I just want to make a note. This woman that is placed here is the character model of Rillera. If you don't know who Rillera is, I've talked about her both in this season and in the Breath of the Wild season as the windmill woman from Hiteno, who is actually from Lurelin and moved to Hiteno and then moves back to Lurelin. In this game, she's wearing like a mushroom outfit because, she's from Hiteno. But in Breath of the Wild, she was just wearing regular village clothes, and they just took that exact model and made it this beckoning woman unnamed character. So if you're like me and you know who it is, you're like, why is Rillera suddenly unnamed for this mission? And it's mad suspicious.
What is this woman doing?
She's got a second life going on.
Yeah. So you follow her around. She's like, oh, it's just over this way. And she like leads you all the way up a mountainside. And then she's like, oh, it's just over there on that opposite cliff. And you have to like fly all the way over to a separate cliff. And she's just kind of over there like, yeah, hurry up. I'm over here now. Come like just this way. I'm like, how did you get across a chasm in the middle of this pursuit? Like, what is happening? Well, we find out what's happening when we get over there. This is actually a member of the Yiga clan. And they were never planning on helping you find Zelda anyway. They were just hoping to exploit Link's his one weakness, that is Zelda, in order to trick him and trap
Also
him.
been hoping to never win because, you don't just challenge Link on your own without any help or backup.
Well, I think it actually was an ambush situation. He ended up having like 3 or 4 dudes with him, but
I mean,
We
we've
fought
dealt with
out of
Koga
love.
every time we've met him through Breath of the Wild and this game.
Yeah.
So they need to bring more.
Yeah. So when we defeat the Yiga, we can go back and tell Penn about it. And he says he's going to report the whole thing back to Tracy. I wish I remembered how many of these missions you have to do before you end up getting any of the rewards.
I wanted to say it was 333, but
Yeah, with 11 missions, I don't think it's quite like that.
yeah.
Maybe. I don't know.
Well, we can look it up.
We can look it up. So that's just the first one, though. Every time you want to know where to go next, and honestly, I don't know if the adventure log order is the same order that Tracy will send you. But Penn only is visiting one stable at a time, it seems, or at least that's what the game would lead you to believe. If you can't find him, or you keep going to the same stable that you've already done, you just can't remember which stable you haven't done yet, go back to the Lucky Clover and Tracy will tell you where Penn should be right now. Like she'll name the stable and tell you about where to find it. He's like, oh yeah, Penn should be right about here somewheres, and that can just kind of lead you along this mission.
So the first one turns out to be Eagle Eyes. I'm going to try to keep track of these.
Okay, I actually have them sorted out here by which ones are Eagle Eyes, which ones are done by Hylians, but the Hylian one could be split into two other categories, and we can kind of go over that after.
Are we
But
going in order of all the Eagle Eyes first?
actually, no.
Okay.
The next one on the list is Gourmet's Gone Missing. This, if you head over to the Riverside stable, you can find Penn, who tells you that the people at the stable have been waiting on these gourmet chefs to show up. They've been delayed. It's been like a few days now, and everybody's kind of wondering and worrying, where are these chefs? I don't know what kind of event they have planned where they need these chefs around, but they're not what they should be. I'll tell you that, because when you end up finding them, Penn gives you some general instruction about which direction they're supposed to be coming from. You go and you find them kind of stranded on an island, but they're not stuck there because of that. Like, they could easily keep moving. They're more all kind of lying around sick. Turns out that one of the chefs, when going to prepare a meat and rice bowl, decided to use monster meat instead of regular meat.
What
and
the
made
heck?
made dubious food, and now they're all sick.
Oh no.
So they give you, Zelda's secret recipe, which is basically just the regular rice and meat bowl. You don't even need that fancy of a meat to make it. And you go and you feed it to them, and they all get better because of it. And you save the day by feeding the gourmets food that they should have just made for themselves to begin with.
Well, you heard it here. Eat regular food. When you have food poisoning, it goes away. Zelda logic.
Yeah, it's a very silly mate. Like, you split one dish between like the four of them, and then they're all just magically rejuvenated and continue on their way to the stable. So
Zelda's recipe.
Yeah, Zelda's recipe. They had Zelda's recipe. It's just a meat and rice bowl, which doesn't really sound like the recipe that Zelda would be like cherishing or holding or teaching or whatever. It just seems way too basic, but I don't know. Maybe meat and rice is revolutionary in the land of Hyrule.
It's the holy food.
It's peak.
Peak gourmet. As long as you cook the meat just right.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I think Penn says he's gonna go and not only, write up about what happened, but share that recipe with the world as well, which is,
Oh boy.
oh boy. So
all
yeah,
we're gonna be eating that.
that chalk one up to the Hylians for that mission. Actually doesn't have anything to do with Zelda as except for the fact that it was her recipe. Like, it was never stated that the gourmets like might know where Zelda is. As far as I can remember, it's more just like they were one of the last ones to talk to her because they got the recipe. Maybe, I don't know.
Zelda's a force in the kitchen.
It's where she's been this whole time, guys.
Oh.
So second one I'm going to put in is the category Zelda ?
Yeah. So the next one is called The Beast and the Princess. So this one is actually spread, like, the rumors of this have spread to all different stables throughout Hyrule. In a bunch of different stables that you go to. I don't know which ones have these NPCs and which ones don't. The actual place you need to go to find the mission is the New Serene stable, but the where you actually find what you're looking for is like out in the jungle of Faron.
Faron, yeah.
Yeah.
Welcome to the jungle.
But this is the beast, like the legendary beast creature. So according to the rumors, this beast was rumored to be under Princess Zelda's control, but at the same time it was supposed to be this horrifying thing with big tusks, and you just don't want to get near it. And so you're sent to investigate, and you can go and look through, like, every image that the Hylians have of this thing is like blurry. And you can see the huge tusks or whatever, and it's like, oh man, this thing looks serious.
There's I remember it was like some NPC over in the not Pharaon, I'm sorry, Elden region. It was like a kind of like a younger NPC, like a teen, and they were talking about the beast in Pharaon. And at this point, this was like at the point in the game where I had no clue what this was. And they were like, man, if only I had a sword, I would go show my parents what for and I would hunt it or something like that. I'm like, bro, you're like just a few years younger than me. Like, you got this.
Yeah. It's interesting because there's actually a stable I feel like that's way closer to where you resolve this. Like there's actually, there's a stable in Pharaon, but that's not the one that has the scoop because they know what the beast is. Because it's like right across the chasm from them. There's like a bridge that goes right from this table over to where this is. There's actually a sanctuary set up with one of the the Zonai researchers, I think. One of Zelda's crew is currently watching over this little sanctuary, and it's for Dons. It's a unique animal specific to Tears of the Kingdom, and it's never been in a different game. And they're like these. I don't know. To me, I think what happened was, if you guys remember the first Tears of the Kingdom trailer where you saw Link and Zelda and this big ox-looking thing that were all like walking down into the cave together at first. I think that they scrapped that ox and turned it into Dons instead, because these things are kind of ox-like, except they're kind of almost have a
You know what it reminds me of is
what does it remind you of?
it's ox, but it's like an ankylosaurus. If you
Yeah,
guys can visualize an ankylosaurus.
it's very dinosaur-esque for sure, but ox form. It's got like the hard scales and like the
Yeah, it's very
tusks look
like
kind of rockish, like
short
gemstones
legs.
and stuff. Yeah,
He's cool though.
yeah. And so these creatures, I think we may have even talked about them in another episode, but these Dons are completely peaceful. If you want, you can feed them luminous stones and come back after a little bit of playtime, and they will have turned those luminous stones into some other kind of gemstone for you.
Diamond Factory.
Yeah, you just see gems all over the ground from the luminous stones that you fed them. I think each one can eat 5 at a time. So if you just want to, do a whole feeding sesh with all of them, you can leave and come back and just get rich immediately.
Dang.
Yeah, it's not. When I say immediately, you have to actually go do something else because they will not, as far as I can tell, finish their business while you're still around. I think you have to.
They're
I think you
shy.
have to leave and play the game and come back.
And you set up a fire and just wait for
You set up a
days.
camera system.
I
Your
don't
Pura
know about
tablet.
that.
I got my Pura pad on you.
But
will
clearly
get
the beast is not this big ferocious thing that everyone's like, oh, Zelda had this monster under control. Not a thing. So when you finally tell Penn, he's like, oh, I'll clear up the news, and goes and does the thing that he always is doing.
I feel like it would have been in Link's best interest to actually just tell Penn there was no such beast, because there could be potential like hunters trying to go and find it now.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't seem like it's a hidden thing. I think the reason that people don't know about it is because it's in Pharaon. And who's gonna? I mean, like a lot of Hylians never venture into Pharaon.
Yeah.
So I don't think that was supposed to be a secret more than this is just their habitat, and it's not a habitat that's really friendly to visitors in general. I mean, the Dons are basically impenetrable. It's just, they're hard to take care of because they only eat luminous stones. So, yeah. It's cool stuff. I mean, it's definitely a fun experience to see them, especially if you just kind of wander and happen upon them. It's like, what is this thing? And then, you can go talk to the researcher, and she's like, oh, yeah, this is Zelda's project. Like, she's taking care of these things. We haven't seen one of these in, forever. We thought they were extinct, et cetera, et cetera. But, yeah, cool little environmental bit in the game.
Legend of Zelda Jurassic Park confirmed.
Basically. Welcome to Don Park. So the next one after that is Zelda's Golden Horse, and this one I know we've mentioned before in one of our adventure episodes.
Yes, we have. I think we actually, like, if I'm not mistaken, we talked mostly through the whole thing almost. Or no, we didn't. We kind of tiptoed, I think, because we were talking about the stable trotters, which is
We were
at
talking
that.
about the Gleeok fight that happens right there.
Oh, was it that?
I think so. And I think your story was that you went and fought the Gleeok, and my story was that I just rode the horse around
Yeah.
and didn't get involved. Something like that.
Yeah, I think that might have been what happened. But yeah, this quest was interesting because it's, I believe, one of the only quests we actually get a boss reward from. And that would be a golden horse, as the quest denotes. But just like the other ones, we start off, we go to Penn, and I don't remember the NPC who was there. Was it oh goodness, I'm trying to really remember here. I don't know if you remember the NPC that was like kind of concerned about the horse, but there's an NPC next to Penn. What are you gonna say?
Sorry, Harlow. Harlow is the like the stable attendant, like not the actual one that you do business with, but the one that is in the spot where you'd like customize your horse.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so then yeah, Harlow is there, standing next to Penn, and then they're kind of just like freaking out because they explain to you that Princess Zelda's golden horse, which is at the stable, has run away, got spooked. Don't really know why, but an interesting tidbit I actually found out about from like an Insta or TikTok video was that if you don't start this quest and you actually go to the stable, the horse will actually be there. So you can see it before it runs away at the stable, just chilling. I never knew that. Yeah. So you can be like, whoa, golden horse, that'd be so cool to ride. And then lo and behold, you can actually get it later.
I think I
pretty
did
neat.
see this before
Yeah.
the golden horse, and it's like, oh yeah, Zelda asked me to take care of this. Like the lore is that it's her horse.
Mm-hmm. Which leads me to believe, where'd the white horse go that she so lo and behold beloved and
Well,
just kind of vanished?
Disowned.
yeah, I don't. That is never explained. The horse lore is not continuous between the two games, it
No, it
seems.
is not.
Ganondorf's horse is also gone, but there is a giant white horse, like the horse god horse, that is as big as the Ganondorf horse, but is the color scheme of Zelda's horse. So maybe that's like the child
Grew
of
up.
the horses.
Oh
And
goodness.
those two horses are long gone now.
Yeah, makes sense.
Of course, time moves faster in Hyrule.
Oh no. All right, so yeah, we basically start the quest. Harlow will warn us about a giant, huge monster that we already discussed is in that direction, and I don't really think you have to trot far or walk far to realize it is a giant flying ice Gleeok that is flying right around where the horse is. So you can take this one of two ways. You can be sneaky and just kind of go around the Gleeok, tame the horse really quick, and then just hightail it on out of there and hope that, you know, he doesn't freeze you both on the way back. Or you can make this your stand and fight the ice Gleeok like I tried to do, and it took me many times, but I did it.
Be a man.
And if this is your first time taming a horse, you're gonna want, like, probably, just to be safe, at least 2 stamina wheels. And maybe you want like some elixirs, just, you know, some yellow elixirs to give yourself some more stamina. I don't really know how much it takes, but I want to assume it's at least 2.
Yeah,
But I'm not really sure.
I couldn't even, like, that's not a detail that I was gonna try to recount.
Oh, okay. And then, yeah, so you jump on this majestic golden horse and you trot your way, or I guess not canter, gallop. Which one's the fastest one?
Bro, you're talking to the wrong horse guy.
All right, let's just say gallop. I could be wrong. Some horse person can comment and tell us like what the actual term is, because I know there's like a bunch. and you get your way back to the stable, and then Harlow and Penn are super excited to have the horse back, and Harlow gives you the royal bridle set, which is also really cool because I put that on like all my horses, unless I need the towing set, because the royal set is really cool looking. It's basically Zelda's set from the last game on the white horse.
It's like horse strip
Royalty.
to the max.
It what?
Horse strip to the max.
Yeah, got that horse drip. I actually like the knight set too because it makes my horse look like the horse guts.
Beholden, mine dip. Mine drip.
My dip.
Beholden, my drip.
Oh goodness. So that's that quest. Yeah, and you can even get yourself a free pony point too by registering the golden horse, because you're probably going to want to do that when you give you ownership of the horse.
Yeah. So win-win-win scenario. Find out that this isn't really a lead to get to Zelda. We do save the horse. We also get the horse, and we make some more progress on our Lucky Gazette dealings.
Yeah.
Getting froggy out here.
Getting froggy out here. By now, we've for sure earned a piece of the thing. I think you start with the pants and you work your way up. You know how these games do.
Oh yeah, I found it. By the way, it's 4, 9, and then all.
Okay. Does it go shirt first or pants first? How does it go?
It goes sleeves, greaves, and then chest.
Sleeves, greaves, and chest. All right. Sure.
I like it.
Okay. So, moving on from horses, over to goats. This next stable that we get directed to is the Tabantha Bridge stable, where you can find out that a whole bunch of white goats that are normally within the pen have gone missing. Chalk or Chork, his name is Chork. First of all, let's just stop right there. Chork is the dude who's in charge of the goats.
Maybe the H is silent and it's just cork.
It's just Cork.
I don't know. I kind of like that Chork's got that Chork going for him.
Cork it is.
When you say that Chork going for him, what?
I was meaning more like torque. It just sounds like he's really just
Okay.
going for it.
It's an adjective of power.
Yeah.
He's really got that Chork about him. All right. So he is remorseful, according to my adventure log. He forgot the recipe that Zelda taught him for what the white goats like to eat. Basically, he forgets this recipe, but he remembers that pine cones are a part of it. But he forgets that you're probably supposed to like mash up the pine cones. So he just gave the goats full pine cones, which maybe that's why Chork is his name, because they probably choked on them pine cones and decided, hey, we don't really like this guy. We're gonna bounce. But what you end up doing is you follow a trail of pine cones.
And now, this brings up a serious question:
Yeah.
how many pine cones did this man give them? Like, there's a serious amount of pine cones that you follow.
Yeah.
These poor goats, man.
They were hacking them up the whole way. I mean, I usually just use them to get the high jump, like burn them pine cones and just go for it.
There you go.
But there's an absurd amount of pine cones. You can follow them. It's really nice if you just use your scanner to find them, either the one that beeps, or you can just, look for ultra hand things, like if you go into ultra hand mode and it'll highlight things you can use, and it'll highlight the pine cones, so you can find them easily that way too. And eventually it takes you kind of into where all those plateau weird tree platform things are.
Oh yeah.
And you'll find your white goats all kind of huddled up underneath one of those. You end up getting them back. I don't even remember how Link manages to get these goats back, other than, he's Link. He showed up at the right time. And you tell Penn about it. Yeah, we found the goats. We're all good. No Zelda, just a recipe.
Dang it.
I remember finding the actual bottled recipe, but I don't remember where in relation to the goats it was.
They're just like in the middle of the pile.
Now we can feed goats.
Yeah. So now Chork can feed the goats properly, and the stable is saved.
Yay!
So between this and the whole Don thing and the golden horse thing, it seems like Zelda's seriously an animal person. Just want
Yeah.
to toss that out there. Seems to be very into the caring for animals and nature in general.
Yeah, she took care of them animals throughout Hyrule, man.
Yeah, I
She's a
think it's
good
just
person.
right. It's really trying to build up the compassionate part of her character, right? Like, oh, look at her, she's everywhere, just loving on animals. Just
Aw,
that's our princess.
just doing the right thing.
Yeah. Speaking of that's our princess, the next mission is called For Our Princess.
Oh, jeez.
For the princess!
And I think Anthony said that he wanted to talk about this one, at least to start us off.
We go over to the foothill stable. It's like in Eldon somewhere, like towards, I guess, the bottom of the volcano ish.
Yeah, I
And
would say like kind of between Eldon and Akala
okay,
in
that's
that
where I
in that
thought it
zone,
was.
that direction.
Yeah, it's in like the cool down zone of Eldon. And you get to the stable, and I just want to say, so you probably don't see Penn right away when you get to the stable. You probably don't even notice the stable itself before you see what's at the stable. So there's just a bunch of dudes and a bunch of gals just hanging out in their underpants around this like multi-faceted hot spring. And they're just chilling around the stable. They're all in their underpants. And you're probably in the game wondering like, all right, so I just got done with a bunch of like rock addicted Gorons. What could this possibly be about? And then you learn when you talk to Penn and the dudes who are in their underpants when you try to talk to them that Zelda had insisted that they just strip down to their underwear to be the best of themselves and do everything in their underwear, and that they'll make scientific breakthroughs and be better in their research when they don't have the worries of clothes.
Underwear power.
Yeah. One clarification. It's all dudes. I think that was just Nintendo trying to play it safe.
Oh,
Um,
okay. I wasn't
yeah,
sure.
yeah. There are women who are a part of this story, but not at this point.
Oh, wait, yeah, the women were like standing around like, what's going on? Like,
Yeah,
why
that's
are you guys
part of
doing
it.
this? So, yeah. Now you're probably wondering to yourself, that doesn't sound like Zelda, right? Now, why would Zelda ask a bunch of dudes just to go out in their underpants and do some research in the research commission? Because they're all research commission people. So you're just like, that doesn't really sound like Zelda. And then you find out that a couple of the underpants dudes headed off to tackle a nearby monster den because it was
Oh no.
causing trouble. And they went off in their in the brisk morning breeze with their underwear.
What are they doing?
They're
And
gonna make an armorless raid.
yeah,
Listen, it's a thing.
so you get there and you get to the monster den. You skip everything going on there on the way there, and it's a dude, both same bowl haircut. It's Drant and Sango, and they're at the front of the cave, and they are terrified. I mean, these dudes don't have weapons. They don't got clothes. They got bowl cuts. They're just about to use their fists on these monsters in the den.
Oh
And
no.
you kind of walk in, and you're like, guys, I mean, this is all really noble and stuff, but like, what are you doing out here? And then they're like, Princess Zelda sent us out very specific directions to make sure. How did they word it? It was like, to broaden your mind and body, we must be out in the nude or something like that.
We have to explore in our underpants.
Yeah, it's like you have to leave the safety of the indoor study for the exploration in the wild.
So
And
weird.
Yeah.
So they're scared and they're like, we want to do this, but we don't really want to. And then they're like, we have to try it without gear too. And then you kind of just volunteer yourself. And they're like, are you crazy?
I think they specifically say like, "Hey, maybe the hero can show us how it's done."
Kind of throw
Oh
a dig in
goodness.
at you.
Not only do they don't want to do it, but they decide to task you with doing this no armor raid, which is kind of funny because I feel like a lot of players of Breath of the Wild would just run around with no armor. And this game too, I feel like a lot of people have played it that way, where it's just like, I just want to play armorless Link and run around naked.
Yeah, and I feel like for anyone who either did Eventide Island in Breath of the Wild or any of the shrines that start you out, the courage shrines that start you out with no weapons, like you're gonna have a fine time at this.
Oh yeah, it's gonna be great.
Yeah, they give you a bunch of rocks and sticks and stuff, and you can just go and make your own way and do Ultra Hand and stick a bunch of goobly guck together and fight all the monsters. And I'm pretty sure like the toughest monster in there was a moblin, and that's they're not that tough.
I'm not even
So
sure you had to not use weapons. I think you could still just bring in whatever you had.
no, they take it all.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, the
They take
certain
it
certain
all.
shrines and stuff. Yeah,
And
but they
that's
usually
how
give you somewhat decent weapons in it.
yeah, I didn't remember like struggling at all. And then I know that like you get back there and they're like, "Wow, I can't believe you actually did that. You live up to Zelda's like request or whatever." And then they give you your stuff back and tell you to meet you at the stable. And then you go to the stable and Penn kind of just like chums this one up and he's like, "Well, I guess we took this one out. Zelda's not really here. They're still doing their thing. And you helped. So yeah, I'll report whatever this is." He kind of was like confused from what I remember.
Yeah. And then I will just say one of the Zonai research team, one of the women comes up and is like just scolds all these dudes, and he's like, "What on earth are you doing?" Zelda said to explore all other paths, not explore in underpants. And so,
Oh no!
so most of them end up armoring back up.
Mhm.
There are a couple of them that I think later you can still find in their underpants, like being like, "Hey, I actually learned a lot when I was doing my whole, naked studies out here. So we're still just gonna keep doing it."
Yeah, and that's
You'll
definitely why. It's
you'll
because you're
find them.
naked.
You'll find them like doing push-ups out on a rock or something random. But
Mind and body,
but
mind and
most of them
body.
put their clothes back on.
It was honestly my favorite of the Lucky Clover quests for sure. The stable quests.
It was it was so weird to stream it. I will
Oh, I
say
bet.
that. It's like, hey guys, I don't know what Nintendo's up to right now. We're just gonna roll with it and pretend like this isn't a big deal.
Here, I'm gonna
Right.
send a picture in chat for Cameron so he has some visualization of
Whichever one of them was the one that heard Zelda say explore other paths and thought she said explore in your underpants, they need to be stuck in a well for a while. Cause I mean, like, what?
You didn't think to ask any questions when you heard that? Like what?
You just totally believed your own ears right then and there.
Yeah.
And you felt fine with that choice.
So speaking of believing your own eyes and ears, our next Lucky Gazette mission is the all clucking cuckoo. Or the all clucking cuckoo, if you want to pronounce it like, Tears of the Kingdom does. Um this one happens at the South Akala stable. Penn is there talking about there's this rumor of a prophecy speaking cuckoo that people keep going to get their fortunes read. And it's just up the hill. It's very nearby the stable. And if you go up there, you will in fact find a bunch of Hylians lined up to talk to a cuckoo on a stump. If you get up to this chicken, it will tell you that it needs to test you as the hero. At least I believe that's kind of how it goes. It's like, hey, I see this is your future. You will find Zelda, blah blah blah. But here's what you're going to have to do first. I have to test your conviction and your whatever. So they send you on a couple missions. One is to climb up to the top of the stable. One is to cut down a bunch of trees, like bring 3 tree trunks back here within a time limit. Everything's timed with this character.
You're
And
getting
after you,
tested by a chicken?
oh
Mhm.
yeah. So then after you do these, like after you get the trunks, like the trees back up to the chicken, and you pass it, it's like Oh, I bet you're feeling pretty tired after all that. Perfect for, for this next bit. Like, and it
Oh
turns out it's a
no.
Yiga ambush.
No.
The whole thing was just a trick to try to tire you out so that they could take advantage.
And then you wreck them because, again, they only brought like 3 or 4.
Yeah.
They dressed up as a chicken.
Yeah. They pretended to be the voice of the chicken.
My
Is
favorite,
actually one of the most hilarious missions because the chicken doesn't even like the chicken acts like it's a prophet, like it just very much like does the whole like fortune teller bit. And it is hilarious.
I think my favorite part of the mission is when you're walking up the hill from the stable to get to the tree. There's like this dude in this like what's her name? This like CC mushroom outfit that's walking
Oh.
by, and he's just like so amazed by this chicken. He's like, the all clucking cuckoo with an exclamation point as he walks by you, and he goes, wow. I'm like, bruh, what the heck?
Yeah, 'cause I think there's somebody at the chicken when you get up there too, who's
Yeah.
just indecisive about what they want to ask about, and then there's like another person in line who's like, "This is taking so long. I just want to get my fortune read." And then there's the dude you're talking about who's so amazed.
And what I didn't realize until just now is they probably were the Yiga. At least like
Probably,
maybe
yeah.
like the 2 of them with the chicken.
Yeah.
The Yiga are like the Team Rocket in this game. They're somehow both so disappointing and so impressive at the same time. Like they appear out of nowhere and they disappear and they always survive. And it's like, how do you do that? And then at the same time, they're just dressing up as no-name people and wandering around in the middle of nowhere until Link just goes up to them. Or they're pretending to be a chicken until
Innocently goes
Link
up
gets
to them.
there. Just so that they can ambush him with a couple people. Like, how are you wasting your resources like this? It's great.
They be scheming, man. I don't know.
They be scheming, all right. Like 5-year-olds. Let's put some bananas on the ground, and when he goes to take them, we'll attack him. Like, come on. It's a real thing.
He'll be real distracted eating them. He won't even be able to defend himself.
We like bananas. He must love bananas. Like, come on, guys. What are we doing?
I cannot wait to talk more about the Yiga. We have a Yiga episode planned for this season, and some of the stuff that happens with the Yiga that's not this set of missions, pretty great.
It's so ridiculous.
It
Gotta
is.
love it.
They are. It's a whole different league of villains. It is,
Yeah.
yeah.
Ganon got nothing on these guys.
He's got no use for him either.
That's true. He's just like, let him be. I don't even want him.
I feel like Ganondorf has more loyalty and use out of Bokoblins than the Yiga.
Yeah, the stuff he
Yeah.
just makes.
Yeah, everything's kind of enacting his will. He doesn't even talk to the Yiga. He's like, yeah, a bunch of fanatics out here trying to serve, but they're clowns.
Pretty much.
They got jokes though.
They do got jokes.
And bananas.
All clucking cuckoo. To me, that's the pinnacle mission of all of these. I know your favorite is the For Our Princess. My favorite's the all clucking cuckoo.
It's a good one.
Yeah. The next one on our list is the missing farm tools.
Is this the boss of Breath of the Wild?
It is, and this
Ah.
takes place at the wetland stable.
Flower Blade Ganon?
Yeah.
You know it.
It was Flower Blade Ganon. I remember Zelda in this one also was portrayed as a good person.
Yeah. By the conclusion of it, yeah.
Yeah.
So it starts out, and you could talk to Penn, and he'd be like, "Oh yeah, somebody down the way said that Zelda borrowed his garden tools and never returned them." So then you go over and you talk to this guy, and he's like, he's at the dock, and he's like, "Yeah, Zelda took some farm tools and took them down the river and never came back." And you very clearly get the impression that this all happened long before she actually disappeared. But when you get on the raft and you go down the river, you get to it's a sandbar. It's called the Floret Sandbar. And Magda is there, who is known as Flower Blight Ganon, and she's just chilling making a flower garden on this sandbar.
Of course she is. Deviously.
And basically she says, "Oh yeah, me and Zelda started this garden together. We were gonna return the tools, but then with just me working here, the project's been taking a lot longer. Blah blah blah. Zelda's gone, right? So again, no real leads as to where Zelda is. Just another little story about how she was helping real people do real community projects, even though no one's ever gonna see this flower garden,
Building flower beds.
right? And that's the missing farm tools mission. To me, I mean, a little bit of a throwaway, except for return of Magna. Magda was kind of cool to see.
Did you get the farm tools back, or did you go back and tell the guy it's going to be longer, or just drop it?
I think what happens is that you explain what happened. Like I think the guy even shows up and sees what's happening, and then is like, "Oh, well, I guess if you still need them, then that's fine." It's like it's nothing. Nothing happens. It's fine. You get your paycheck from Penn. Keep it moving.
Another story for the books.
Another story for the books. Missing farm tools. They're just in use.
Still being
fine
used.
everywhere.
That's crazy.
Not missing. Whoa.
Yeah. The next one is Princess Zelda kidnapped. Bum bum bum.
No.
So this one, the Gazette itself, gets a letter stating that that the Yiga have sent this ransom note, basically saying we've captured Zelda, we've taken her to the, I don't remember, the heart of the, here, I think I have the text up. Hold on. To the carved out heart of the towering twins. So you actually start this mission in the Dueling Peaks stable. You'll find Penn up on top of the stable, and he tells you the story about the letter. So he's like, the Yiga have Zelda. She's up there on that mountain. Something about me being a bird, but I can't take on the Yiga. So you're gonna have to climb up there yourself, go rescue her. Blah blah blah. Right? I don't even remember how he explains the problem. He's just looking from a distance, being like, "How dare they?" So so you can go and you can climb up to the carved out heart. I don't remember how high. I think it's close to the peak.
Yeah.
Of the Dueling Peaks, and you'll find a metal box, kind of like the ones that are in the goblin camps, that you can use to put over top of things and just trap them. But inside the box is straight up Zelda's character model.
And now I just want to say, okay, you get here, you see Zelda, and now I don't know if you've done 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 of these quests, or you've interacted with the Yiga, but you're like, this is suspicious. Is this really Zelda? And now, at this point, I was like, this can't be Zelda. Like, these Yiga are getting so good at Shadow Clone Jutsu. Her voice, she's like, "Oh, Link, please help me." I was like, oh, you guys are good. You guys are real good.
First Rolera, now this.
And
I don't know who both these people are.
I have the text of the guy. I just loved it so much. It's just this is why they're comedians, okay? So you ultra hand the crate up, and then it goes to a cutscene where Zelda says, "Bahaha, I knew we'd lure in some heroic wannabes if we use Zelda as bait, but we've even managed to snare you. Hey, don't worry. Once we find the real Zelda, we'll send you to join you. Promise." And then, obviously they turn into Yiga.
Because brought 2 or 3 guys.
We didn't see that coming.
That's how we did.
Shrek again.
I'm telling you, man, they're comedians. They would 100% pass the clone jutsu test at the Ninja Academy in Naruto.
It is their specialty is devoiding themselves of all kind of uniqueness and personality to make jokes and fail. They come across like they're shadow clones, even though they are technically all different people.
Yeah. That's just one guy, just a bunch of Yiga clones.
Is that your official theory on the Yiga?
There's only 6 of them. They're just using a bunch of shadow clones.
Yeah, right.
They got 2 heavies and 4 grunts, and they just kind of...
And Koga.
They're everywhere.
They're just everywhere.
They're just a family. They all use shadow clone jutsu.
The
Yeah.
Bergsons.
I mean, to be fair, I mean, it does seem weird that there would be, I don't know, however many, well, like a dozen people in Kakariko, and then the competing clan has like hundreds. It might very well be the same person just coming back over and over again, or
Yeah.
the same smaller group. I mean, that's not a bad reading.
The only thing that makes me like don't believe that is they do have quite a bit of hideouts in the depths, which I'm sure we'll talk about in the Yiga episode, but it might
Yeah, and
lead
those
me
are
to
all
believe
manned
they have
as
a
well.
larger
Yeah,
force, so I don't know.
the Yiga rivals the entire population of Hyrule. This is gonna be our audience question. It's gonna be like, how many Yiga are there? Is there single digits? Is it
What are we
double
talking?
digits or is it triple digits? Like what are we working with?
2027, The Legend of Zelda: Rise of the Yiga.
Rise of the Yiga.
I
There
like
are
it.
no Hylians left.
The war with the Yiga has come.
That's like
Sounds
a
like a
what if
Hyrule
game.
Warriors game.
Basically, yeah.
You're just slashing through them.
But we're almost wrapping up here. I mean, we only have two left to talk about. And the next one on the list is an eerie voice. And here's the thing. This one is very text reliant, and I don't even know that I could tell you the better details of this story. But the general thing is you go to Highland Stable and Penn tells you that people have been hearing strange singing. That sounds very ominous and very threatening. Out in the field, and they can't figure out what's actually happening, where it's coming from. I have no idea how it's connected to Princess Zelda. I don't know if they think that the voice is her just because it's a female voice. Very strange conclusion to jump to. But if I had the actual lines, I could tell you more. I mean, even when I was playing it, I kind of missed what the lines were because you can listen for a bit before you go and find the source. And I found the source just immediately. And I was like, oh, I guess I don't get to figure out what the actual lyrics of this song were. Um, Basically, what happens is you can go out into this field and you can hear the singing, and it is some dark lyrics about darkness and doom, um, you know death and all that. And that is until you jump down into a well and find a woman who is practicing her singing down in the well. And none of the lyrics are actually like that. It's just what you mishear through the ground.
Mm.
And that's kind of the idea of it.
And then she turns into a Yiga. No, I'm just kidding.
No. But she does. She's like, "Oh, people can hear me. I didn't even know people could hear me," and which is kind of funny. That to me is like a Makar reference from Wind Waker, like when he's practicing his fiddle beneath the waterfall. He's like, "I didn't know people could hear me outside. I guess I got to find a better practice spot." She kind of has the exact same statement of like, "Oh, I didn't realize I could be heard." Okay, well, I'm not definitely not singing about darkness and doom though. So whatever that's going on, I better put that to rest.
Sorry.
So you go and you tell Penn about it, and he's like, "Oh, she was just underground, and we couldn't hear her right. Interesting." And that's the whole
Like
bit.
you could tell Penn anything, and he's just like, "Oh, it was this. All right, let me write a story up."
Yeah,
You could just tell Penn the Yiga attacked every story, and he'd be like, "Oh wow, that's crazy. I would have never guessed."
Penn's whole career is like finder's fees. Basically, he's just like, "Oh, I found a lead," and then you do all the work, and then he's like, "I'm gonna write up what you did."
Yeah.
Basically,
Which, I mean, I
He does
guess,
the paperwork.
yeah, it makes you a pretty good team, I guess. Because I mean, listen, I don't want to do the paperwork. If
yeah.
I'm
No, that'd
being
be
Blake's the
boring.
honest,
field op.
yeah, I don't want to be the one doing the write up. I want to be doing the hands-on work anyway, so that works out for me. But yeah, it's just he's always just kind of there to watch what you do. Um so the last one, I wish we had ended on a better one, but we did just go by adventure log order, is the blocked well. This is in the Gerudo Canyon stable. You find Penn at the stable, and he talks about how Princess Zelda didn't want anyone to use the well, so she locked it up, but nobody knows why she locked it up. And the suspicion is maybe there's a clue as to her whereabouts down here. Like maybe if we can actually get into it, we can figure out why it's hidden, etc. Like maybe there's a clue.
Okay.
So you being Link, you go down there, you dig your way through the blockage because it's like straight up like collapsed in basically. And what you find is a huge monster den.
Oh,
It's
So
crazy. Like there could be like lots of monsters like in there.
yeah, there are a lot of mushrooms too, if I remember right. Good amount of things to pick up. But you fight your way through the whole monster den. You don't find any clues. You don't find any Zeldas. So you head back out and you tell Penn about it. And he's like, "Oh, so it's just a monster den. She was trying to keep everybody safe." All right, cool. I'm gonna write it up.
You just imagine like when I was going through that, like you put yourself in Link's shoes, like he's visualizing that Zelda might be down here, and you go down there, and he's just fighting off all these monsters, and then he sees like Liz of all of a sudden a like, and he's like, oh, a like, Zelda, are you in there? God, open up like.
Uh, uh,
just expecting to find her everywhere. Opens the
Mhm.
chest. Are you in here?
you in here? It turns out Zelda started a library and nobody knows why. Because she liked to read, Penn. She's not in the library, my guy. It's just everything that has anything to do with Zelda. He just is like, well, I mean, listen, nobody understands what's going on here, but Zelda is somewhere involved. She wrote the food recipe, my guy. It's like, oh, okay.
She was here at one point.
She before she disappeared, she was here, and maybe we'll find a clue if we talk to enough people.
Pretty
Turns out
much.
she's not here. Like I thought we knew that when we came. Like we knew she wasn't here. That's not even what we were looking for, Penn.
We were closer to finding Zelda doing the main 4 region quests than we are doing these.
We were, because we actually learned, exactly what Zelda was doing back in the day and
Yeah.
what the result of that was. But yeah, at that point we are done with the Lucky Clover quests, and we get our last piece of frog gear.
Froggy!
And what
Climbing
we
on the
don't
walls for
get
free.
is any closer to finding Zelda.
That was like a carrot on a stick that got dangled in front of Link with like pieces of gear thrown at him to keep him happy, just to get him new stories.
Yeah. So I think roughly 8 of these missions were just either people who had some kind of association with Zelda or some kind of instruction from Zelda, uh, or people who were just mistaken for being Zelda, and then the other 3 were Yiga plots.
Darn Yiga.
So I mean, 8-3, highly into Yiga, not bad. The Yiga weren't doing everything, but plenty of mysteries were just kind of meh, in my opinion. I mean, it was fun to go around with Penn. The one thing I'll say is after you're done with this, Penn does reference our favorite Rito from Tears or from Breath of the Wild, Cass.
Cass boy.
Yes.
Um,
The worst father of the year.
No.
Yeah, Cass, the absentee father of Tears of the Kingdom. He talks about how he's gonna go to this. Sorry, so in Breath of the Wild, there was this shrine that you had to stand on naked at the Blood Moon, and right above that was like one of those tree things, but it was one that had a camp set up on it. And Cass was up there, and he talks about how like his mentor used to go up there to like think about things and figure things out. Um, and so Penn tells you, "Hey, I'm heading over to this one place where they say that this this musician used to go and like spend time thinking, and I need to figure out what my next steps are." He's like, "We made a really good team, but I guess our adventure is over now." And he's just like super melancholy about it. And so he says he's going to this place, and I'm like, in my mind, I'm like, oh my gosh, I found Cass. We're gonna go there, and Cass is gonna be there, and it's gonna be this amazing reunion. No, you go there, and it's just Penn, and he's just chilling, and he's just contemplating life. And I'm like, come on, game.
They dangled it in front
Cass
of you.
is gone, man.
Cass is gone. They
He did his
replaced him
duty.
with Penn.
They did.
Hyrule is so empty without Cass.
Yeah,
I miss just coming up on his music randomly as I'm exploring.
Mm-hmm.
right. Instead, we got Mr. Sorlong instead, and I mean that's fine. He's a cool character, but he's not Cass.
Nah, he doesn't have the cool factor. So let me wrap something, or let me throw something at you guys while we wrap up here. We finished 8-3, but how do we know that the Yiga didn't start these quests? I mean, let's be real. How do we know that the Yiga didn't let the golden horse off, you know? How do we know that they didn't cause the acorns or the pine cones mess fiasco? We don't know. It could have been the Yiga.
Rise of the Yiga.
I'm not really one for conspiracy theories.
No, I'm not conspiracy. I'm just being comedic like the Yiga.
Oh, I gotcha. One thing I just want to clear up, that location I was trying to think of was Washa's Bluff. That's where Penn ends up going to contemplate his next move in life. And they really do make it seem like you're gonna find Cass there, but then you don't. And it's very upsetting. It's like, it's all I want. If they did a DLC and it
Cass
cost me
DLC.
like $15 and all it did was put Cass back in the game, I would be tempted. I would be seriously tempted.
He's got to have at least like a new quest chain for you.
Yeah, I mean that would be the least that you could, you'd have to expect them to at least do that. But
What's
if they made
great?
it very clear, hey, he's not going to do anything aside from have a conversation with Penn that you can listen in on, I'd be like, yes, please.
So you know what's great about Wash's Bluff? Because I just found it in the real world map here. It's the sister mountain to Satori Mountain.
It is right across the river there, yeah.
Yeah. It's kind of cool tidbit. I don't think it means anything, but it's like two really important mountains right next to each other. So much impact.
They're Mound twins.
Oh gosh.
Well, do we have anything else to add?
I don't think we do. I think that's all 11 missions, and I think we're done here. That went a lot faster than I thought it would, but I mean, it did make for a whole episode, so
Hey,
no regrets here.
A lot of work goes into making the news.
Yeah. So thank you all for listening. This has been our episode of A4NB4Y. Please catch our next article coming at you in a few weeks. Stay on top of the latest and greatest Tears of the Kingdom news with your boys over at A4NB4Y.
extra, extra. Did you get all that?